I guess what ultimately won Stefan Frei the job after the competition preseason?
I think the competition was close. Obviously, between the two of them, I think it was a situation. I think just Stefan, I think was a little more consistent for me in the games that we played.
Are you looking at him as potentially the Sounders' keeper of the future? Do you want to get into that at this point?
Don't want to get into that at this point. I think we go a game at a time. I think Stefan did well to get a shutout in his first game. I know he's looking forward for this game, the second game, and against his old club. But I think we also, have a very capable backup in Marcus.
Now that Weaver is signed, what sort of role might you envision for him?
Cam obviously missed a majority of preseason, so he's still got to work on his fitness and get up to it. But he's different than the other forwards we have, in that he's a big target forward, more in the lines of when Nate Jekyll was here. So he provides that for us, and those alternatives as we move forward and lose people for the World Cup and maybe some injuries take place, or seeing how things go in the season. He becomes a valuable player, I think, for us to use off the bench, valuable player to use in other competitions as well.
And any more signings you think imminent?
No, I think not that I know of. Yeah.
So you just mentioned the World Cup. This game on Saturday potentially is going to feature a lot of guys who will play in it. Just what kind of statement is that about the league when you have Michael Bradley, Clint Dempsey, and then international players too, all in one MLS game?
Well, obviously I think it's good. It shows that with the signings of Dempsey and with the signings of Michael Bradley, our league's made a commitment and gone forward to move in a direction that the league hadn't moved in before, in terms of bringing guys back when they're still at the top of their career, are still valuable and are still playing well. So as the league continues to grow and as the league continues to make those steps, it's what's going to take us into the next level.
Coach, how to prepare for so many new players you haven't played against Toronto?
We have some tape on them, so but there's a lot of guys we know. What Morrow's played for San Jose, Caldwell played last year, Henry played, Osorio played last year. Bradley, guys have seen play. Between the national team and all that, Defoe, guys have seen play as well. So it's Jackson played last year, Ray played last year. So when you look at it, they're new to that team. A lot of those guys, and the formation and the grouping is new. But a lot of those players are players that our team knows and is familiar with.
How do you anticipate they're going to play, formation, style, things like that?
In preseason they've played pretty much a 4-4-2 and stuck with that, in principle. So I imagine they'll stay with that again.
Is it much of a disadvantage for them that this is their opener?
Not really. They had the opportunity to sit back and look at other teams, and so now they're going into week 2, and they sort of saw everybody sort of unveiled and what they're going to do, and they really haven't unveiled that yet. So there's a little, having that little bit of mystery sometimes helps you.
Did you have any takeaways from kind of this first round of CCL action with MLS teams getting 2 wins and a tie at these home legs?
I thought it was great. I think it's great. I think it shows that the gap certainly has narrowed. I think in each of those games, each of those games went a little differently. When you look at it, obviously Cruz Azul, ends up, putting some pressure on Kansas City, but not getting a goal. But Kansas City did well. Tijuana put a lot of pressure on LA in the second half, but LA stood firm, which is an important thing. And Toluca, scores an unbelievable goal, that allows them to get a draw out of it. But again, it shows that the difference between the two leagues is not very great. It's always a disadvantage for our league at this time point of the year, because we're not in the rhythm of play like the Mexican teams are. And last year when we beat Tigres at the same stage, it was a difficult situation because of the fact that we weren't in rhythm. But I hope we get some more MLS teams knock off Mexican teams here in the second leg. Second leg's going to be tough going down to Mexico, but I think by not taking any goals in 2 of the games, I think that's a huge advantage for the MLS teams, because if you can get 1 on the road, you immediately force them to score 3.
Like CCL, MLS looks like they've switched in their playoff format to value road goals. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it keeps it consistent in what's going on in international play. Keeps it consistent for the fans of soccer as well. The Champions League, whether it's our Champions League or the European Champions League, and our playoffs are sort of viewing home and away goals in the same manner.
Do you think it kind of drives home the point that that's really a separate competition from the regular season? That essentially it's taken away a lot of the home field advantage, and so it really is just a second tournament.
It's always been a second tournament. I don't think weighing away goals double makes it any different. I remember Coach long time ago telling me, when you have a league competition, the cream rises to the top, and when you have a cup competition, it's Fantasy Island, and the playoffs are really a cup competition. And so how you did necessarily in league does not necessarily reflect in cup competitions.
Anything else?
Okay, thanks.
Give your full 90 with the Sounders FC mobile app, featuring live audio, matchday blog, and much more to keep you connected. Download your app at soundersfc.com/mobile.